morning, key leaders. I am opening up this document to show you. Here you see our beginning in October. We use our Eleot data to help us inform professional development at Ridgeview High School. And so here, if you take a look, you'll see A1, differentiating learning opportunities that meet the needs of individual students. That was an area. And the technology one, digital learning environments, G1, G2, G3, as it relates to using technology for collaboration, information gathering, and creating arts of work. These are areas that we have been focusing on. So digital collaboration using the technology is very important. And so one of the things that we did, we're very intentional about there being a transition and a continuous flow and alignment with PD, and something that teachers can use immediately with their students. And so if you notice here, we had a PD session on HyperDocs, because that can be such a powerful collaboration tool. And so one of the things previously, as we're working on rigor and Webb's depth of knowledge, we done PD on that. And so we had teachers use their devices and to write a level 3 or level 4 question for an upcoming unit of study. And so what we did, we combined all of their responses, and they fell under the following category: English, Math, Science, and Social Studies. So the following opportunity for PD, we went back to their same responses, and of course they had to sit in different groups interdisciplinary, and we had conversations about whether or not these questions really were a level 3 and a level 4, and if they weren't, how could it be rewritten, how could it be changed so that students were using, getting that rigor for learning, in addition to doing it using technology to meet the needs and helping them understand. And just as we want to check for understanding from our students, we do the same thing with our staff members. So in this HyperDoc, our teachers, we ask them to complete a form, because one of the things that we want to do is use this information to inform how we should design and plan our next PD session. So here we ask them some questions that we wanted to check for understanding as it relates to Webb depth of knowledge in level 3 and level 4, and of course what's most important, wanted to know how they could transfer the learning to their classroom, so ultimately it goes to students and students are able to collaborate. Okay, one other thing that I like to show you as it relates to working with PD and online collaboration, there was a session that we did with our teachers with using our online collaboration with Google Suite tools. And one of the things that I just wanted to make sure, sometimes it can keep it simple. Just keep it simple and use what you have. You don't have to have all of these bells and whistles. And so we did a session with our teachers in our technology digital learning space with what they can do. We talked to them about the upgrades with Google Docs, and maybe I can slide out of the way so you guys can see this better. How they can go and write comments, and now they can even do suggestions versus editing. And so I think this is a tool that is great for teachers, especially teachers using literacy and want students to do peer editing. I think a lot of times that we can use this tool to give a suggestion versus actually putting a comment or editing and doing the work for students. And I like this too with adults, because you can, of course, if you're teaching in the same content area, you guys can give your individual feedback or give suggestions, and then based on the needs of the person who makes the final decision or the group who makes the final decision, you can see what everyone has to say. So that is a new feature that we did PD with our teachers on. And what's really cool is, like, at the end of it, of course, they have an assignment, but guess what? The next step will be What will teachers, how will you use this with your students? How has it been used with your students? Okay, so the teacher in me wants to really get some information from you. So I really would like to have a question for my elementary level key leaders, middle school and high school key leaders. But as I look at the time, I'm already at 5 minutes and 23 seconds, so I'm over my time. But I will say this, using the Eleot to inform how are you doing in terms of as it relates to these focus areas is a great tool. Our next step, what we plan to do quickly, what we're going to do, we're going to have specific days where we're just going to do the Eliots for the math department, then English, and then social studies, and then we want to look as a whole, how are we relating in these areas, like who's killing it as it relates to the math department when it comes to active learning environment summary or digital learning environment. They may be acing it. So now we're going to dive a little bit deeper, and the only way to do that is to be intentional as an admin team and a school leadership team is by going on specific days, only doing Eliots on that particular department so we can use the data as it relates to that department, and maybe we'll be even more focused with which department needs professional development based on the needs of that department. Okay, I'm sorry I'm over my time. See you guys. It's been great.